Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of Character Matters, the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we have faced for several decades now and that affects every single aspect of our lives. Today, I'd like to talk just a little bit about a concept that I introduced over 30 years ago now in my first writings and that I talk about extensively in all my books, namely the type of disturbed character that I call the aggressive personality. Traditional paradigms in psychology and other mental health professions have largely failed to understand and correctly make sense of the aggressive personalities among us. Now, I should say from the outset that the aggressive personalities are inherently narcissistic. They have various types and degree of narcissism in their character, but their overall modus operandi, their way of being in the world, their way of interacting with others, their way of dealing with life goes well beyond narcissism. And I should also say that these personalities are not the same as assertive personalities, which are among the healthiest personalities there are. Assertive personalities have decency in their character. They take care to discipline their bids to survive and prosper in this world and to strive for the things that they want and need from others with care not to injure needlessly, striving for just purposes and causes while respecting the rights, needs, and legitimate concerns of others. Not so with the aggressive personalities. And in my books, I talk about 5 types of aggressive personality. The unbridled aggressive, a person prone to fight too hard, too often, senselessly, without constraints, and whom we have labeled in various ways in the past, including antisocial, disocial, etc., often criminal personalities who break the rules without compunction and are undeterred by adverse consequences of their actions. Then there are the folks that I call the channeled aggressives. These are the folks who know how to behave themselves and generally do behave themselves within limits so that they can function more adaptively in society without incurring social sanction. They will break the rules when they can get away with it, or they think they can get away with it, and they are extremely aggressive in their interpersonal style, but they have some discipline about them, and so they tend to enter occupations in which they can be as aggressive as they want to be with some degree of protection, but they're nonetheless quite problematic because they really don't have it within their hearts to be subordinate to anything or anyone. And then we have the sadistic aggressives, the folks who like to hurt. Most aggressive personalities hurt people, but it's not their primary goal. Their primary goal is to have what they want, when they want it, whenever they want it, usually at your expense. And if you have to get run over in order for them to have it, so be it. But hurting you is not the primary objective. And they get more satisfaction out of winning than they do hurting. But with sadistic personalities, hurting is part of the process. Moreover, some folks take great delight in causing pain to others. Then there are the folks that I call the covert aggressives, the highly manipulative characters that know how to maintain favorable impressions and look good while they're getting the better of you, using clever tactics to have their way, to melt your resistance, to get you to capitulate, and doing so by stealthy, underhanded, manipulative means. And then finally, the individuals that I call the predatory aggressives. the folks that we have often labeled either psychopathic or sociopathic, nature's only known intra-species predators who see themselves in a pathologically grandiose way as superior to those of us who may have qualms about one thing or another, who have consciences that might influence our behavior. They see themselves as superior to such folks, considering such folks weak and worthy, therefore, of exploitation. Predatory aggressives use and abuse without compunction. They are the most malignant types of narcissists that I speak about in many articles on the blog at drgeorgesimon.com and in all my books. So, for a better understanding of the aggressive personalities, what really makes them tick, how certain classical, traditional notions about these folks have actually set people up to be victimized, especially when they go to seek help. My writings are all designed to help people get a proper understanding of these very dangerous personality types, folks whom we should never afford the reins of power because of how dangerous they are. All my writings speak to this, all my books and all my online articles. And so for more information, I urge you to avail yourself of them. I've written the books and the articles to give folks the understanding they need to see things as they really are and to properly protect and empower themselves. It's very edifying that I still get an unusual amount of mail from folks who say the same thing, that merely being afforded the clarity to see such folks as they are, to have their gut hunches confirmed, changed everything and set them on the road to a more empowered life. That's been my life's work, and it's also been my life's great pleasure. On the upcoming edition of Character Matters, I'll have an announcement for you about future live stream programs. Until then, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dr. George Simon. Take care.